everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am hopping on to talk about selling Angora rabbit fiber for spinners and what that should look like and how to do that correctly for what a spinner would want to be buying. For those of you who are new here, welcome. I am a fiber artist. I own Tailspin Farm, and I raise Angora rabbits, Angora goats, and I am a Spinolution wheel dealer, and I've been doing this for about 20 years now. I took a drop spindle class 20 years ago, fell in love with it, and just have a huge passion for spinning and the rabbits. And so today's video is going to kind of give you the ins and outs of how to do it well and what spinners would be looking for in the fiber that they're purchasing from you. So let's jump into this video. And actually, if you watched my Wednesday video, which I just finished filming, I'm filming back to back today because I have a busy week. And so if you watch that, I talked about a couple of new things coming up. There is a Facebook page that is awesome and amazing, the Angora Fiber Marketplace, and then I also talked about the Angora Artisan Academy coming out, and so I'm a part of both of those things. And the way that this conversation came about was in the Facebook page, someone had just purchased a huge amount of Angora rabbit fiber and spent a lot of money on it. Now, Angora rabbit fiber is pricey because this is all a lot of work to raise Angora rabbits. There's a lot of maintenance on the rabbits. There's a lot of time and energy spent into it. And so it's not cheap. It's considered a luxury fiber or yarn, depending on what you buy. And so this person had purchased a lot of fiber. And what she got, I was shocked at, you guys. I could not believe what she got. And I don't want to put pictures in here because I don't know this person. It just came through on the Facebook page. But what she got were regular cuts, and she got seconds, which are short little, when you run, it looks like this person probably sheared them with electric shears. And when you run over the same spot that you've already did, you get second cuts, which are the short little cuts. All the fiber that she got, this was $500 worth of fiber, which is a lot of Angora fiber. It was questionable at best, and I had no idea. That's one of the things that I have always been cautious and aware of. If I'm going to sell you fiber or yarn, it's going to be beautiful. There's not going to be, it's not going to be what I saw on the Facebook page. So we're going to talk about that today and what spinners are looking for when you do sell your fiber. I have talked about this a lot in bits and pieces, but never sat down and showed you what is the best way to go about doing this. So first we're going to talk about how you remove it from the rabbit. And as we're talking about that, let's talk just a little bit, because I'm always pushing this one. If you are not caring for your rabbit well, whether it be nutrition or whatever else, you're not going to have good fiber. And, you know, same with how you're getting the fiber off from the animal. As we see people thinking that we are ripping fiber off the animal's bodies, that is not true. If you did that, you're not going to have a great product, and you won't have a rabbit that continually produces great fiber. And so that's one of the things I want to do here on the channel, is to educate people with how to do that properly. So today we're going to talk about clipping and plucking, which is an interesting word that triggers people also. So clipping, you can do that either with, like I said, an electric shear. I prefer, and I have lots of videos showing you the scissors that I use. I'll try to remember to link it above here. I prefer using a small handled, small blade scissor when I clip my rabbits. And I do clip them most of the summer, because once it gets over 80 degrees, it gets too hot for them. And Angora is 6 to 7 times warmer than sheep wool, depending on who you talk to. And so I do clip my rabbits with shears, just little clippers, all summer long. And so when I do that, even if I'm going to be spinning it myself, I card, and I forgot to bring my carders with me, but you guys have seen those. So if I am clipping any fiber, I am carding that fiber, just because that's what I prefer to do. Now I have a basket here. It's got some short pieces. Short pieces aren't necessarily bad. I do typically like to get mine 3 to 5 inches in staple length. These are a little bit shorter, but let me see if I can find. So I do have some. So when you're clipping, you're going to want to go through your fiber, and I card all of my clip fiber. Whether I'm spinning it or whether I'm selling it, I'm going to card it because I don't like spinning the blunt end edges. That's just my preference. I feel like they show up in the yarn when you're spinning. And so all of your fiber, when it is clipped, I don't know if you can see this. There's one little piece of a second cut right here. I think you can. It's in my, there, it's on my shoulder. That's a second cut. I would pull this out. I would pull this short piece out too, where it came from. This is really short. And so I would pull this out and not sell it. And as you card, try to see if I can find any more here. Here's another good example. So here's a staple length. It's about probably 3 inches, but it has this right here. I would pull this out. I'm not going to sell that. And the pictures that this gal showed, there was a lot of this. There was, you know, pieces that were clipped, and then there was a lot of second cut. Now, I typically always go through, and when you card, you're going to get rid of a lot of this stuff anyways. It's going to come out in the carding process. I hand card all of my Angora. It's just what I prefer. I feel like when I run it through the drum carder, it creates nibs on it, little like felted balls sort of thing. And so, which isn't a bad thing. That can be an art type yarn. Some people like that. But if I'm going to sell my yarn or my fiber, my Angora fiber, I want it to be clean and smooth and beautiful. And that's actually how I prefer to spin it. So with this basket here, you know, this is a nice staple length. Could I sell this just like this with clipped ends? Yes. I prefer not to, because I don't prefer to spin it that way. And so I would go through all of this. I would card it. I'd pull out the pieces, these little pieces, and set them aside and use them for, you can use them for felting. I had a video a couple weeks ago where I showed you how to felt Angora. This would work perfectly for that. And so it's not like they're waste per se. The other thing I do is I go through and pull out any big pieces of hay or straw. I am not a real stickler on that, because I have bought fiber from lots of different farmers, that even fiber that's been processed at the mill, a lot of times you're going to find little pieces of hay here and there. To me, that just adds to the character. I know where it came from. I know it came from a farm. You know, it's just one of those things. So I am not crazy insane about pulling out every little piece of grass and hay in my fiber when I sell it. Most of it, 98% of it is going to be clean. But every now and then you might find a piece of grass or something. I was looking at this. This is my jar of combed, and I see there's one piece of grass right there that I'll probably pull out. But that doesn't bother me when I receive it as much as the short second cuts and things like that would. So that is how I would handle my clipped fiber. I clip it and I card it into roll eggs, and that's how I sell it. The other thing that I do, and this is what I do probably 9 months of the year, is I comb all of my rabbits. I don't necessarily pluck. And when I say pluck, you guys have to keep in mind, Angora rabbits molt, just like other fiber animals. They naturally get rid of their coats. And so you could, and I've showed this on a video too, where I can just sit and run my fingers through and get a handful of fiber. That's what you would consider plucking. Now, even when I'm just gently plucking, that's not hurting the rabbit either, because it's just coming out. Like I said, don't say the word pulled your fiber. You want to say the word pluck. I was trying to come up with a new word yesterday that would work, and there's just really no better word. Pluck is about the gentlest word that there is when you think of pulling out fiber. And so that's what we're doing, is we're plucking it out gently, whether that be just running your fingers through it or gently just tugging on it. It all comes out because that's the natural process of the rabbit. Just like your dogs shed their hair or your cats shed their fur, it's the same thing. And so we aren't injuring the animals when we do that. Now, when it comes to my combed fiber, I sell this just like it is. This is all combed, and there are no seconds, there are no short pieces. This is all just beautiful fiber that you can see. If you start right here with spinning, it's just going to continue to pull out of this bunch. And so when it comes to combed fiber, I don't do anything. I comb it. I do check it. Like I said, I'll pull out the bigger pieces of hay that I see in there. But for the most part, that is all I'm going to do with combed fiber is gather it up. I don't typically ever wash my fiber either. If the fiber has to be washed, I don't sell it to people. I keep it for myself. I may wash it. I may use it for felting. There's lots of other things I can do with it. So any of my fiber that's looking, and I do have times when, you know, I might have some fiber that's got some dirt on it or whatever. I do have 2 colony rabbits, and sometimes they dig. And so they have been known to get a little bit dirty. But for the most part, my animals are very clean, and I have no problems with combing the fiber, putting it into a bag, which we're going to talk about in another video too, is how I ship my fibers. So that will be another shorter video later on, maybe this month yet. So those are the 2 basic main things you want to do. Pull out hay, pull out seconds, and I choose to card my clipped fiber so that it is nice and aligned in the strands of the fiber. The other thing you want to think about is what breed your rabbit is. For the most part, I can usually tell if I am spinning French or English, just from the feel. Not always though. I have rabbits that tend to lean, I have some French Angoras, which do tend to have more guard hairs, lean more towards being an English feel to them. And so that might be something you put in your listing, is what breed is the rabbit. Now, with that being said, do I always only sell one rabbit's fiber at a time? No. I have several white rabbits that I will mix together. Typically, I try to keep my French white Angora and my English white Angora separate, if that makes sense. So if I sell it, you're either getting French or English, but it might be from 2 or 3 different rabbits. I also have several chestnut Angora, French Angoras, and so I may mix 3 or 4 of my chestnut Angoras to get the fiber for that, if that makes sense. So you don't have to have it be just one rabbit. It can be a mix. So you'll want to list it as what breed it is, how it was harvested. Was it clipped with electric shears? Was it clipped with, you know, just scissors or shears, whatever you want to call them? Was it combed? Was it plucked? You might want to tell that in your listing. The color of the wool. So this is all chestnut wool. Actually, I think I have all chestnut wool. So that's what chestnut is. You'll want to list that. You might want to list picture-wise, you'll want a picture of your fiber. You might also want a picture of your rabbit or rabbits that make up the amount of fiber, because sometimes the color looks different off the rabbit, if that is just the way it is. And so you might get variations of different colors in there. This one I think is all, yeah, this is all chestnut also. But chestnut has some different colors mixed in with it. And it might look different off the rabbit than it does on the rabbit. So maybe in your listing of your pictures, you'll take a picture of the fiber itself, take a picture of your rabbits, where it came from. They might want to know that. Staple length, how long is it? For the most part, it doesn't have to be exact. Like I said, typically I like to stick towards 4 to 5 inches. 3 to 5 inches is fine. Some people don't like to spin if they're blending it with other fibers that might be shorter. They might not want your 6-inch staple length if they're spinning 3 or 4 inch. It just depends on the person who's buying it. So that's why I would recommend putting all this stuff in there. Is it carded or not? So my combed stuff is not. It's just combed right off the rabbit, put into a bag to send out. My clipped stuff is carded, so you might want to mention that. The weight, I sell most of my Angora in 1 ounce bags. So in your listing, you'll want to put how much you're selling. And typically, I think most people who sell the fiber sell it by 1 ounces increments, 1 ounce increments. Price per ounce, that's going to vary. Again, Angora is, it's a luxury fiber, guys. There is a lot of work that goes into it. So it is a little bit of a pricier fiber to purchase. But it does go a long way. It's super lightweight. So an ounce might be that much fiber. Actually, probably pretty close to that. That's a lot of fiber to spin when it comes to Angora, especially if you're spinning it thinner, then you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. I don't necessarily spin all of my Angora super thin. I do like it a bit on the chunkier side. That is a spinner's preference. So you want to put that. You want to put shipping on your listing. Excuse me. If it's free shipping or not. Obviously, that's just one of the basics when you're selling anything online. We talked about second cuts. We talked about it being dirty. Those are the 2 main things that you really, really want to watch for when you're selling your fiber. The second cuts and any of the hay or grass or whatever it might be that gets caught in there. Those are the things you want to be very aware of. You do not want to sell fiber that has a lot of that in it, or no second cuts. Is, you know, we don't want any second cuts when it comes to spinning fiber. I think that's all I wanted to touch base on with this. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any more questions, or if I missed something, please put it down below in the question box or in the comment box. I'll be glad to answer any of those. Yeah, it's important that when people are buying your stuff, you want to make sure that you are selling prime fiber or yarn, whatever it is you're listing. But that is what we talked about, is what spinners would be looking for their own spinning purposes. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, a great Sunday, and I hope you get to create something today. Bye.